All right, we should be good to go. So again, apologize for the first session that came out. We are good to go. So good afternoon, everybody. Trinity Trading from Simpler Trading here. Trinity John, I should say. Um, I want to go over my Intel trade, kind of show you exactly what I did, what my thoughts were behind it, and I hope that you can learn from it. So first of all, if you watch my other um, earning trades, you know that I identify supply and demand. So first, I just want to get kind of an idea, and I always come into earnings trades not thinking about, the normal, like what people teach you, like, hey, you can't tell me where price is going. We don't know what the information is going to be. I don't think about that. I just look at the chart and I say to myself, okay, if I were taking this and there's no such thing as earnings, what is my overall assessment of this? Now, I'll tell you, it looks very powerful as far as the yearly chart goes, and I understand that's a really, really long time frame, but this is definitely something that I want to be looking at going into 2024 and 2025, as I do see that prices can push up towards 65, 70, and 80, as long as they're going to hold about 45. Okay. Now, of course, this is earnings, so we're going to break it down just a little bit further. So what I did was I went on our weekly time frames and I identified supply and demand. Now, I use indicators here that help me do that, but I also teach you how to manually find them and find your zones. Like this right here is identified by using this zone. So the idea is if Intel were to move up today, I would only expect it to move into this section. I do not use the Analyze tab on Thinkorswim or any other data. I simply use supply and demand. Now, sometimes I will go back and look at the Analyze tab and say, okay, well, this is where trendy is with supply and demand. I wonder where the market makers are also expecting their move. But I never deviate from my actual plan. I always want to stick to supply and demand. Now, again, you can see here that we have this blue line. So it's already identifying that level for me. So it was pretty simple. I just place a level here, and I structure my debit call spreads long term for this here. And I say long term, 22 days on this particular trade. I'll show it to you here in a second. Now, tomorrow, what we're looking at, I'm going to bring over my live feed here, right here. So this is the position I have on. For tomorrow, this is what my position looks like right now. So I am in a butterfly, and I bought the 48.5 puts, and then I sold the 44.5, and then I bought the 40.5. Now, if you don't know anything about butterflies, a great place for you to start is to actually come over to Simpler Trading, where Henry Gamble, who I think is one of the best traders when it comes to butterflies, can teach you about how to structure butterflies and so forth. Now, mine are really straightforward. I'm using them around my levels, but if you want to learn more and get more in depth, then come and check us out, okay? But this particular trade, what I'm basically doing is saying that price tomorrow that will open up between this strike here and right here, okay? I'm really not in trouble and don't have to really manage much unless we drop below this 44 level, okay? So this trade is looking absolutely beast mode right here. All right, and I want to say if we come in here, let's just pretend, well, actually, I want to say that this pays about 4x on this particular trade if we can open up here. So that will look really, really good. So the reason why I did this today is because I don't expect Intel to move a whole lot. And I guess in percentage, you could sit here and say this is a pretty big move, but I didn't expect like a huge move. And so I felt safe doing the butterfly, and it made sense to me. I only paid about somewhere between 90 and maybe $1 for this particular trade. And again, it can pay out close to $400. Okay, so this is the way that I like to approach earnings on this particular trade. Now, the reason, once again, that I did this short term instead of doing a long term butterfly, it's really not advantageous to do so. All right. And because the market is extended and because those levels that I put out and showed you guys on X, on ES, and NASDAQ, it's letting me know that we're coming into a cycle where we might see sideways to down. So regardless, I would expect INTC to potentially come down. Okay, so we've hit this on the mark. Now, what I want to do when we open up tomorrow, and this is the same way every single time, is I'm going to come over here and listen. The the fact is we have a very low probability unless something were to come out tomorrow and be in Intel's favor. I have a low probability that we're going to get to 53, even with 22 days left. All right, that's pretty far out of the money. That's an $8 move, and at this point, you're almost looking like a 20% move. But just for good measure, what I do, because I can't tell the future, is I'm going to come over here after I take my profits from my butterfly, and I'm going to buy back the short side, and I'm going to be long on the call side, because you never know what's going to happen. And the way that I structure these is that I am making sure that what I pay for both trades, that one of the trades, if it hits, pays for both trades and more. Now, sometimes I do mess up. Sometimes I do mess up. Like, for example, let's see, what were we in today? We were in IBM, right? And I made like 200 and something percent, I believe. And if I just would have held, I would have got almost my 400%. So I should have held out. The overall trade was profitable, but it should have been a lot more profitable. So there are some cases that, I mess up on the management of it, but it's very, very rare. Okay. So great way. This is how I'm trading it. This is how I'm looking at INTC. Now, I looked at INTC a little bit more than V, so V might be a surprise to both of us because I haven't really even looked at it except for like the first 5 minutes after. So let's take a quick look for V. So it looks like V, yeah, so this might be a surprise. So we're at 265. And so this one I might have to do a little bit more finessing with. So let's come down here and see where we are. And short term kind of did the same thing. Yeah, there we are. So this is almost perfect. Matter of fact, this is perfect. So the way that I structured this is that I bought the 270, I sold the 265, all right, and then I bought the 260 to protect myself. At this moment, and seriously, this is the first time I've looked at this. This is absolutely on fire. This is exactly where we want it to be. So both trades are looking really good for the short term. And for the long term, this is what it looks like for me. And again, we'll go to the chart here in a second. I'll show you what I was looking at. So I decided not to buy out 22 days because I know that Visa can sometimes move quite a bit. And I figured, if I nail this trade and it works out in my favor, we could maybe see the call side, maybe, um, if it gets some legs on it. So what I'll do tomorrow, if we stay here, I'll close my position for profits, and then I'll come over here and make sure before I buy back the short side that it makes sense to me to buy back the short side. I just want to make that disclaimer because the reason why is because, see, today these were at $1.97, 210. Well, if we open up where we are tomorrow, these are pretty much look like trash, right? So I want to make sure though, right? You really want to make sure you don't want to come over here and buy back the short side if this is still looking like $1.50 and $2 because now I just exposed myself to several $100s of risk, right? I want to make sure these are dirt cheap and then I'll buy back the short side. And again, I profit on the put side. And now I'm able to hold on to long calls just in case the market is on a micro dip. Let's say that Apple and everybody joins the party next week. We have an awesome lineup in earnings, and you guys can see that over on Twitter. Just make sure you go over and follow eWhispers. Okay, that's where I get all my information. That's these guys right here. Um, you can look at and see what the lineup is for next week, and this gives you all the look at this thing. Absolutely incredible, all kinds of awesome names. And so my point is, if for some reason things are firing on all cylinders and this proves to be a buy the dip, you could see Visa make its march back up towards 275 to 280. And then what happens is I collect all that money on the put side, and then these come alive, and then it's a bonus. Then I make money on both sides. Okay. So that's what I'm looking at doing for those two trades. So far, everything's looking absolutely amazing. I hope that the market stays right here. Doesn't mean it's going to. And before I close out, I want to make sure we look at one more thing, and that's going to be Market Watch. What is on the docket for tomorrow? So tomorrow is the 26th. It's not the end of the month yet. The end of the month ends on Wednesday. And tomorrow, what I want to know is there any kind of econ data that's out there that's going to put a strain on the market, right? So things can be looking good on my puts, but anything can happen during this econ information and the market could dump even more. All right. So I am short on some futures right now, and I shorted on that little pop this morning, or sorry, this afternoon, and I also shorted this morning, and it's just kind of like a placeholder, if you will. The only way that I'm going to get out of my short, and I want to show you here on the NASDAQ, and I think this is important to close out this little session right here on this trade, is this was your intraday look. And again, I'm short. And I would really like to cover down here somewhere in the green box overnight or potentially in the morning. But the idea is that I want to stay short unless we somehow miraculously make a new high. And if we do, I don't care because I'm net long and I'm scaling into long-term positions. But as of right now, I am short, but I'm more net long. I do have puts on NVIDIA and stuff like that. So, I feel pretty well balanced, and I hope you're doing well. And if you're not doing well and you're looking for some sort of process and somebody that can help you, come and check out Melissa and I. We're here at Simpler Trading. You guys can go to simplertrading.com. And for $7, guys, you get 7 days with us and you get to see everything that we do, which is live trading, API alerts. We trade futures, we trade options, we trade equity, all that good stuff. So again, thanks so much for spending a few minutes with me. And I hope this video helped you. Don't forget to give us a like, and we'll see you soon.